Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the New York 16 Child Tax Credit webinar. My name is Ruthie. I am with the Office of Congressman Bowman. We're really happy to have you all here this afternoon for an informative session about the Child Tax Credit. We are joined by members of our office as well as members of the IRS. I will first kick it over to our Director of Constituent Services to give an overview of the constituent offerings that our office can help you with. After that, we will be hearing from Congressman Bowman about the child tax credit and what it means for our district. And then we will pass it over to Louis, Sandra, and Brenda from the IRS for a presentation on the details of the child tax credit, when you can expect to see payments, and what it might mean for your family or for those you serve. At the end, there will be an opportunity for questions and answers. So if at any point during the presentations you have a question, you can feel free to use the Q&A box to type in your question, and we will get to it during the Q&A session. One note is that if you do have questions about your own personal case, we would recommend you instead email us in the email that I will put in the chat so that you're not sharing personal information with others. We're happy to follow up on an individual basis after. Thanks so much, and I will now pass it to our Director of Constituent Services, Adili Espaillat.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adili Espaillat, and I'm the Director for Constituent Services of the Office of Congressman Bowman. As Ruthie mentioned, today we will be focusing on child tax credit, which is a form of federal COVID-19 relief available to all of our constituents. Before we talk about this program, I wanted to inform you all of the variety of constituent services we provide. Our office can assist with inquiring of the status of federal cases, including VA benefits, immigration cases, USPS, plus mail delays, the stimulus check questions, Social Security benefits, COVID-19 relief resources, including the child tax credit. Also, we provide information with the federal grant opportunities and information. Our job is to help you navigate any federal agency that you need support with to ensure you have what you need. We love to help our constituent, and we encourage you all to call our office if you have any questions or need any assistance. Our office numbers are listed in this slide. You can call our Bronx office at 718-530-7710 and our Westchester office at 914-371-9220. Now I'm going to turn it over to Congressman Jamaal Bowman for a few words about the tax child credit.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Adili, for all the amazing work that you do. And thank you, Ruthie, for getting us set up with this town hall. So the child tax credit, before I get into the details, I want us to think of this as Social Security for children. Social Security for children. Excuse me. And the reason why we were able to pass the expanded child tax credit as part of the American Rescue Plan is because of all of the great work that's been done, excuse me, in communities across the country to make sure that Democrats won the Senate and the House and the White House, because now our focus is on our children. It's on communities and people who have been most vulnerable, and it's on us uplifting children out of poverty. So this is, need some water, sorry. This is Social Security for our children. So let's go through some of the details. In March 2021, Congress passed the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 to provide direct relief to families during the COVID pandemic. The child tax credit in the American Rescue Plan provides the largest tax credit ever and historic relief to working families. Automatic monthly payments for nearly all working families, including advanced tax relief that started in July 2021. And the child tax credit funds are extremely flexible Parents can use them for a variety of needs. Next slide, please. So, well, how does this look? What does this look like in New York 16? Lifting New York 16 families out of poverty. Over 75% of children in New York 16 are eligible to gain from expanded and improved child tax credit. 9,200 children in the district can be lifted out of poverty. I repeat, 9,200 children can be lifted out of poverty. Now, let's think about that for a moment. Poverty causes trauma, causes stress. Trauma and stress really impacts a child's ability to focus and learn in schools. It impacts the family dynamic and how families interact with each other. It impacts the ability to keep food on the table, a roof over our heads, and clothes on our back. So this expanded child tax credit just changes the reality and improves the quality of life for 9,200 children and families in the district. This is incredible. The average benefit for households in New York 16 is $2,800. Families with children in poverty will receive an average of $4,300. Because of the larger benefit for younger children, 3,100 kids under the age of 6 in New York 16 can be lifted out of poverty. This is incredible. Next slide, please. So, who will receive the expanded child tax credit? First, families will receive up to $3,000 per child between the ages of 6 and 17 years old. Families will receive up to $3,600 per child under the age of 6. All families making up to $150,000 will get the full credit, which I believe is like 90% of the country, which is huge. And if you are a family that makes above these limits based on how you file your taxes, you may qualify for a reduced child tax credit, which phases out to $0 for married couples making $400,000 or more than $200,000 for all other filing statuses. Now, again, this is key. This is what we fought for as progressives within the Democratic Party. We fought tooth and nail. We fought hard to get this child tax credit put in. And now we're fighting to make the child tax credit permanent and extended as part of the reconciliation package so we can continue to provide Social Security for our children. As we know, our country hasn't done enough in terms of lifting people out of poverty. So this is a huge, amazing, important step in getting that done. One other thing I want to mention is this. If you do not file taxes, and you are looking to benefit from the child's tax credit, please be in contact with our office so that we can direct you and support you in how to go about doing that. Thank you so much. I will now pass the mic back to Ruthie to keep the town hall going. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much, Congressman. At this time, I will pass it over to our IRS representatives for a presentation on the details of the child tax credit. And I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Okay, thank you, Ruthie. I can't see the screen, but I just wanted to ask if the first slide was showing.
Yes, the first slide is now showing.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Louis Maurizio. I am a territory manager with the Internal Revenue Service, and my primary program responsibility is the VITA program. That's the free tax prep that our partners offer to the community, especially for low and moderate income taxpayers. But we also are involved with doing outreach about the EIP payments, which we just had the third round of, and also the advanced child tax credit. And that's the reason why we're here to talk about, today, the advanced payments of the 2021 child tax credit. So just to quickly review a little bit of what was covered earlier, as part of the background, President Biden in March signed the American Rescue Plan, which included several new provisions for taxpayers and their families, including that third round of economic impact payments of $1,400. But it also included a significant expansion to the child tax credit. And as a quick summary of some of the changes for you, the plan raised the maximum age for a qualifying child from age 16 to 17. It also increased the child tax credit from $2,000 up to $3,000 for children over 5 and under 18, and up to $3,600 for children under the age of 6. And for taxpayers whose main home is in the United States for more than half the year, the plan eliminates the maximum refund limit of $1,400 on the additional child tax credit, and also eliminates the requirement that you had to have a minimum of $2,500 in earned income for the year. That means basically families that have zero income can get the full child tax credit this year. But I think the most significant provision of the plan is that it provides for advance payments of the child tax credit, up to 50% of the estimated 2021 credit for taxpayers whose main home is in the U.S. for more than half of 2021. Okay, Ruthie, can you go on to the next slide, slide 2? So there are certain basic requirements to get the full benefits in 2021. As I said, you have to have a main home in the United States for more than half the year, or file a joint return with a spouse who had a main home in the United States for more than half the year. You have to have a taxpayer identification number. And what does that mean? That means that you or your spouse, if filing a joint return, either have to have a social security number or an individual taxpayer identification number, commonly known as an ITIN. There is a modified adjusted gross income limit. As the Congressman said earlier, the child tax credit is phased out at certain levels of income based on your filing status. But low and no income taxpayers generally will not be affected by this phase out. And of course, you have to have a qualifying child. The child must be claimed as a dependent by the taxpayer and have a social security number that would normally be valid for work purposes. Okay, Ruthie, next slide, slide 3. Okay, the most important provision, though, of the plan is the advance payments of the child tax credit. So here's some good information that you need to know about those advance payments. The payments are based on the qualifying children claimed on the 2020 tax return, if filed and processed, or if not, then it goes to the 2019 tax return information. The payment will be up to $250 a month for each child aged 6 to 17, and up to $300 a month for each child under age 6. They'll be made monthly beginning July 15th, that was last month, through December 15th, and either deposited directly to a financial account on file with the IRS or sent as a paper check to the address of record if the IRS does not have a financial account on file. Now, we have sent letters to over 35 million people advising them that we think that they're eligible for those advance payments based on their 2020 and 2019 tax return filing. And we're following up with letters estimating their monthly payment amounts. So you should have gotten at least 2 letters regarding the advance payments. We also have tools online at irs.gov where taxpayers can determine eligibility, payment history, and update financial account information. We have other tools that are in development that will allow you to update that information to fine-tune your payment amounts in order to ensure more accuracy. like your 2021 filing status, income, number of qualifying children, and mailing address. However, that tool is not yet available. It's coming, we hope within the next few weeks, but it is not yet available. There is another tool that is already available that allows you to unenroll from the advance payments and simply receive the full credit when you file your 2021 tax return, if that's what you want, or because you don't qualify for the child tax credit in 2021. So if you did have a 2020 or a 2019 tax return on file, most people won't need to do a thing. You'll receive the payments automatically. Okay, and now I'd like to turn it over to someone on my staff, a tax consultant by the name of Sandra Bissum. Sandra has been with the IRS for many years, and she's a very knowledgeable person. Sandra, take it away.
Sandra, we can't hear you. I think you might be on mute. Sandra, we're having trouble hearing you. Could you try unmuting, or maybe it's better to call in through a different line? Malia, if you have the option to invite her to unmute, that might work as well. Apologies, everybody, for the technical difficulties. Sandra, there you are. Do you think you can unmute? We can see you now, but are having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Take it away. Thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, I was not on mute.
Oh, we just lost you. Are you still there, Sandra?
You hear me?
Yes, it seems like you're cutting in and out. So we could just hear you for a second and then we lost you again.
The Revenue Service since 1985. So I've been here for a while. I'm a relationship manager, and I also
Louis, since we're having trouble hearing Sandra, do you think you might be able to cover this portion of the presentation?
Sure. And if Sandra can hear, I think maybe she should call in. I think that might be better. Okay, Ruthie, if you can go to slide number 4.
Perfect. I'm on slide 4.
Okay. So what we're doing with our outreach efforts is that we're trying to focus those on people whose income doesn't meet the filing requirement threshold. We call, those people non-filers. So if you haven't filed a 2020 or a 2019 tax return, that shows qualifying children, generally you won't get any advance payments because we don't have any of that information on record. Therefore, low and no income families without a 2020 or 2019 return on file with the IRS may qualify for advance payments. Will need to do one of two things as soon as they can. Right? If they didn't use last year's IRS non-filer tool to sign up for the economic impact payments, then what they need to do immediately is file a 2020 tax return showing qualifying children for 2020, or use the new child tax credit non-filer sign-up tool on irs.gov to fill out a simplified online tax return showing qualifying children for 2020. Okay, non-filers can use the online free file providers and also local IRS volunteer income tax assistance partners, those are our write-up partners, to prepare and file returns for free or for assistance using the non-filer sign-up tool. Okay. So Sandra, have you come back yet? Okay, Ruthie, if we can go to the next slide. I believe it should show a screenshot of the free file.
Yes, that's what it shows.
Okay. So when non-filers use this online method to file a simplified return, the IRS will also determine if they're eligible for the third economic impact payment, and that was for $1,400. If they are, then there's nothing else that you need to do to get that payment. Okay, next slide, please. And that should show publication 5538. Is that correct, Ruthie?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, so that publication is called the User Guide for the Sign-Up Tool, is available on irs.gov. If you're an organization that wants to help non-filing families, or you just need additional information about how to sign up and use that tool, you know, this is where you can get some additional information from irs.gov and from that publication. Now, we do understand that you may not have, you know, internet access, reliable internet access, or maybe a smartphone that has, you know, an unrestricted data plan or a computer. So, you know, this sign-up guide basically is great because it allows organizations to be able to help you to sign up for these payments. Okay. And I believe the next slide, Ruthie.
Yes, it's a table of how much money is on the table for 2021.
Okay. All right, so how much child tax credit advance payments and economic impact payments money is on the table? For us, as you can see, this is just an example of potential payment amounts. Okay, one adult with one child over 5, 2 adults with one child over 5, and then 2 adults with 2 children over 5. And you're talking about significant amounts of money here. And that's combined, obviously, with the child tax credit and also the 3 economic impact payments, which have been provided over the last year, and that could be well over $14,000. And as Congressman Bowman said, these amounts could be life-changing, even life-saving for our low and no-income families here in our area. Okay, I believe, Brenda, you may be up with the next slide.
I do not see Brenda on the call, so I'm wondering if you're able to continue.
Okay.
Hi, Lois. If you can hear me, I'm here.
Oh,
Okay,
great. Yes, we can hear you.
Sandra. Okay, and I think we lost Brenda now. So, Sandra, could you continue with slide number 9?
Sandra, are you available for slide number 9? We're having trouble hearing you again.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, we can hear you now. So you can go ahead with slide 9. Thank you.
Right. I'm so sorry. My phone and Zoom is acting up. Anyway, basically, this is Brenda Luke. I'm with IRS 2 in communications. And one of the topics that we really were concerned about is for people to be aware of scams. So if it does not look unofficial, if it doesn't look official, people should not be utilizing this information. And we want to wait and follow only the IRS information that's found on IRS.gov, because a lot of people are actually saying that they can help people expeditiously get their child tax credit or even their economic impact payment. And a lot of people have fallen prey to this. So we're saying do not fall prey for any fictitious or offers to get your money faster. Only the IRS can issue this. So there's nothing that people can do, but because people are in need of the money, they're going to actually utilize this tool. And as much as we're trying to show everyone that, you know, we're fighting for people not to become a victim of identity theft, we have other people that's trying to find out scams to get the money and actually, you know, hurt the people. So there is nothing anyone else can do but follow the guidelines that's on irs.gov. Next slide. This is our contact information. I'm sure Louis brought out the other part. One of the slides that I was covering was, we need your help. And I'm sure in between trying to get back on, it is so urgent that we have everybody's cooperation. It's like an all hands on deck. So
Great. Thank you so much to both of you for this fabulous presentation. I'm going to go ahead and invite Adili back on for our Q&A portion, and we can go right into questions and answers. I think we might have just lost you again on your audio. Adili, are you there?
There's nothing alone, so I don't feel too bad.
Oh, we can hear you now. That seems to be working. We have a question that's come in, which is, I received a letter regarding the Child Care Act. I filed my taxes, but I have not received the payment for July. I did not opt out. How can I receive the payment?
Hi, this is Louis. What you need to do is go on irs.gov into the online tool to check the status of your payment. When you go into irs.gov, there should be a section there that says Advanced Child Tax Credit Payments. You'll click on that, and then you should be able to get, you know, the main page that gives you all the links to the various tools that we have. And for that, you can check your status.
Great, thank you. And I'll also say, Adelia, I'm not sure if you're on, but our office can also help you check the status. So if you do have a question about your individual case, you can call us, email us, and Adelia and her team can help you figure that out. I'll put the emails in the chat again. Adelia, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yes, of course. Our office can assist you when contacting the IRS and other federal agencies. So please feel free to reach out to our office. Our contact information has been listed there. So please give us a call if you need any further assistance.
Great, thank you. We have another question specific about immigration status. So this person asks, if I am undocumented or live in a mixed status family, will I be able to receive the child tax credit? And could this benefit count against me in any future immigration status change that I should be aware of?
Hi, this is Lewis. Let me take that one. So immigration status is not something the IRS looks for. It's not part of the requirement to receive payments. As I stated earlier in my presentation, you have to meet those various 4 requirements, including the fact that you have to have either a valid Social Security number or an ITIN. That's what you need. If you don't have either one of those, then you may not qualify for the credit. And in terms of future immigration actions, I think that's something that's beyond the Internal Revenue Service. That's a different agency, so I won't answer that question. I won't be able to.
Great, thank you. And if people have questions of their own, feel free to put them in the chat or to put them in the Q&A box, and we'll work to get to those. In the meantime, we have another question, which is, if I qualify for the child tax credit, what other IRS programs do I likely qualify for? Lewis, could you maybe talk about some of the other programs that are similar but distinct?
Absolutely. So there is another credit which you may have heard of in the past, and that's the Earned Income Tax Credit. And that also is a refundable credit, meaning that even if you have no income, you can still get that credit refunded to you. And that is available for low-income taxpayers, people whose adjusted gross incomes are usually below $60,000. So there may be some overlap. If you are a low or no income family, you would qualify for the child tax credit potentially, and also the earned income credit. Now, there may be other families whose incomes are higher, let's say, 80, 90,000. You may still qualify for the child tax credit, but not the earned income credit. We also have another credit available called the Child and Dependent Care Expense Credit. And that credit is available for people who have to pay, let's say, daycare expenses for them to be able to work and, their children are in daycare. So that credit is also available, but you have to be working or actively looking for work to get that credit. And then, of course, there may be other state and local credits, either from New York State or the city, that may also be available.
Great, thanks so much. We have several constituents who have written in about not receiving their checks, even though they kind of fit all of the criteria that we discussed today. What advice would you give to those constituents who are without their checks? What can they do to expedite the process? And is there any kind of explanation for why people might not have received their checks yet?
Well, the main explanation is that they didn't file a 2019 or 2020 tax return. So if that's the case, if the IRS is going to consider that person to be a non-filer, and we won't have the information to be able to calculate that child tax credit. So if that's the case, I strongly recommend that you file a 2020 tax return. That will help to expedite, the child credit. Now, you may want to try to use one of our VITA service providers to be able to complete that return. And what we can do is provide you, Ruthie, with the list of those VITA providers who are open and available to help taxpayers file their 2020 tax returns, or even with help with the online tools.
Great, thank you. We have a couple more questions. One is, what if I had a child in 2021? Do I qualify for the child tax credit then?
Yes, if you had a child in 2021, you would qualify for the child tax credit. And again, when we have that tool that I spoke about earlier that becomes available, because it isn't right now, you may be able to update your information to show that you now have a qualifying child and then qualify for advance payments. But even if you don't do that, as long as you file your 2021 tax return, you will be eligible for the credit.
Great. We have a comment that just came in about the importance of working with the faith-based community. And I think that kind of brings us to a larger piece of like what kind of outreach is the IRS doing about this, and how can people on this call who are connected to different communities in New York 16 help get the word out about the child tax credit?
Okay, well, the IRS is engaging in an extensive outreach campaign to try to educate people about the child tax credit changes, including the advance payments. We work with our current VITA partners to do that. Within New York City, we try to also work with the city government itself through the DCWP, Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, in order to get the word out to all city agencies and any organizations that the city works with. We have our partner organizations up in Westchester County as well, where we work with them to do outreach and to partner with that. We have information on irs.gov. There's an extensive list of frequently asked questions there on irs.gov, literally pages and pages of questions. So if you do have a question, I really urge you to look at the irs.gov FAQ section, and it's highly likely that your question is probably there. I took a look at it the other day, and it was very extensive. So those are some of the outreach efforts that we've done. We've also engaged in social media efforts, and we've worked with various elected representatives, such as Congressman Bowman, to publicize the advance payments of the child tax credit.
Great, thank you. We have one more question, and then if anybody has any other questions, feel free again to put it in the chat or in the Q&A. If you're calling in and you don't have access to the chat or the Q&A, you can go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll be able to see that. With this question, I know the Congressman touched on this a little bit, but what can I use my child tax credit funds for, and are there any restrictions? I think people are familiar with stimulus checks. How do eligible child tax credit funds relate to other forms of benefit?
Okay, so the child tax credit payments that you receive, there is no restriction on it. There's no usage requirement, just like with the economic impact payments. And just like those EIP payments, the advance payments are not taxable income to you, and they should not affect any other federal benefit program.
Great, thank you. And one other just came in, which is somebody who filed their 2020 taxes and is just waiting online, which says that it keeps saying that it's in process. Do you have any kind of ability to understand when somebody's check will be coming, and how can they kind of check on, future statuses, since they are obviously waiting on these funds for really important purposes?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we were told as IRS employees is that you should continuously check the Where's My Refund tool on irs.gov. Sometimes tax returns do get hung up in processing for error checking, so it's possible the return is being held up for that reason. But the only thing we can tell you is to keep checking the Where's My Refund tool on irs.gov.
Okay, thanks. And we also have somebody who wrote in as they're a non-filer, but they filled out the tool for non-filers online and haven't heard anything. They were in touch with our office, and our office gave them a heads up that it might take 8 weeks to hear a response from the IRS. So they're wondering, is there anything else that they can do? Is there anything else that our office can do?
Not right now. Since they did that, it does take that amount of time to process the information. So at this point, the best advice I can give is to just wait the 8 weeks, and then you can check the online tool for the status of it.
Great. Yeah. And I'll just add in there, we recognize that 8 weeks might be, a really long time for a family who's in real need of these funds. And so our office, again, can, help you all navigate that system of checking status and looking for any clarity. And Adili here and our entire district team is really here to help however we can get you, more transparency in the process. Thanks. Though that is the conclusion of our questions. Oh, were you about to say something? Okay, well, that's the conclusion of all of the questions. I'll give it just 1 minute for people to type in any other questions that they might have. In the meantime, wanted to just kind of pass it to you, Louis, and Adelia as well, to see if you had any kind of concluding thoughts or things that we didn't get to this evening that you think would be important for constituents to know.
Thank you, Ruthie. I just want to mention that our office is here to help. If you guys have any other questions related to IRS and other federal agency, please contact us and we will be really happy to assist you with your cases.
Great, thank you. And we did just get one last question come in, which is a question about the use of facial recognition in the process. Is there any phase in the child tax credit allocation process in which facial recognition is used? And if so, could you kind of explain the purpose behind that?
Not that I'm aware of. Everything is entered through text into our online tools. We have no known programs that we work with in IRS for facial recognition. So I'm not familiar with that at all. And my only answer could be is that we don't use it.
Okay, great. Well, on that note, thank you both so much for making the time to speak with us and join our office in this webinar. Thank you so much to all of the participants out there who joined for this hour. We will be following up with further information and a summary of everything learned today. Thank you to Adelia, our Director of Constituent Services, for all the information that you've provided. And again, just want to reiterate that our office is here to help you navigate this system. We can check on status of your advanced child tax credit payment and answer other clarifying questions, so do not hesitate to reach out. And on that note, we will conclude our webinar. So have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.